Hi, I'm Eva, and this is the movie 28 Years Later. A little boy with a sick mother embarks on a dangerous journey through a country populated by people infected with the rage virus to find a doctor who can help them. I and the fantasy film Brick. A wife in the science fiction film Brick. A wife suggests that her husband give up everything and leave Tozark for a new life in an old hippie van. However, her husband refuses, citing the need to finish the work he has started. But there is a belief that he was simply afraid for the condition of the vehicle. The van could have simply broken down somewhere in the middle of nowhere. The film begins in the Scottish Highlands. Small children watch Teletubbies on TV while adults make noise and argue in neighboring rooms. When the crazed parents burst into the room and attack the children, only the boy Jimmy manages to escape. Before becoming infected with the rage virus, his mother tells him torn. Jimmy runs to the church where his father works as a priest. However, his father sees the zombie apocalypse as a sign from God. He gives his son a cross and hides him in the church basement. Before the infected break into a building, they bite the priest, infecting him, after which the whole crowd moves on. Jimmy is left alone in this big and dangerous world. The rage virus epidemic has spread throughout the United Kingdom. The British Isles have been separated from mainland Europe by quarantine. The country is populated by the infected. People have gathered in communes. Therefore, the walking dead are forced to feed not on human flesh, but on earthworms, squirrels, and deer, down-toed forest bark. The few survivors and healthy people live on the island of Lindisfarne, separated from the mainland by a narrow spit of land that can only be crossed at low tide. This is where a boy named Spike lives. His mother, Isla, is ill. She has outbursts of anger and memory lapses. But since there are no doctors on the island, no one can help her. Spike himself, together with his father Jamie, is preparing for his first trip to the mainland. It is a kind of initiation right into adulthood, taking everything they need and leaving old Sam to look after Isla. Father and son set off. Before the gates, the elders of the community remind them that no one will go looking for them if they do not return. Such are the local safety rules. Crossing the OSU, they find themselves in the vastness of the great land, which Spike has never seen before. Off screen, Rudyard Kipling's poem Kipling's The Boot, which was voiced by actor Taylor Holmes in 1915. It symbolizes the senselessness and futility of war. With rhythmic syllables, it imitates the rumbling of footsteps from endless marches on foot. Making his way through the woods, Jamie notices an infected man crawling in his belly. To pass the initiation, Spike must kill him. His father explains where to shoot with a bow to do this. While the boy is aiming, another infected person approaches them from behind. This time it is a woman. Spike kills the male. His father kills the female and the cub, sparing only the youngest girl off the infected family. The couple moves further through the deserted landscape. Soon they notice a herd of deer leading like real deer. They cross the fields in the center. Then they come across a lonely house, which they search for anything useful. Hearing suspicious noises, they find a crow pecking at a suspended man with letters carved into his body. Someone has demonstratively punished him by leaving him to be infected with the virus. Jamie explains to his son that there are also survivors on the mainland, but their moral and ethical standards differ from those in their community. Then hoarders Spike to kill the hanged man to complete his initiation. But the boy hesitates until the infected man breaks free, at which point he released an arrow. Continuing on their way, they come across a severed deer head hanging from a tree. The infected have marked their territory. Realizing that it is dangerous to stay here, Jamie leads his son away. They notice a group of infected ahead of them, who rush after them in pursuit. The people retreat, shooting arrows and wasting their supply of arrows. Returning to the house, the survivors climb through a trapdoor into the attic, where they hide and wait for the infected to lose interest and leave. While waiting, Jamie observes the alpha watching them and explains to his son that the rage virus sometimes affects people differently. IT acts on the alpha like on the alpha. It acts like the Olympic motto, making them faster, higher, stronger, and more resilient. You can't kill one of these with a single arrow. When it gets dark, they notice lights in the sea. It's a NATO patrol boat enforcing a quarantine. Spike sees smoke from a fire on the other side. His father says he has no idea who lives there. Closer to morning, a herd of deer rushes past the house like lively moose. The vibration created by their hooves shook the house, and a chimney began to collapse. Jamie and Spike quickly leave the shelter and run toward their home island. When they reach the coast, they see that a tide has already begun to recede, but the water has not yet completely gone. Taking off their shoes, they wade through the water. The people reach the arch halfway across when a flock of crows starts chasing them. And what's worse, the alpha is infected. The mutant runs like crazy, closing the distance. The survivors run to the wall off the settlement, whistling to signal an alarm. The sentries on the wall, noticing them, fire arrows. They cause inconvenience, but do not stop the alpha. He almost catches up with the fugitives when a spear is fired from a ballista on the wall, which calms the mutated infected. The settlement throws a party in honor of Spike's successful initiation. Jamie talks about what a fine son he is. After the event, the boy notices him cuddling in a dark corner with another woman. Returning home in a state of turmoil, he discusses his mother's condition with Sam. The old man tells him that the Bonfire in the Big Land was burned by Dr. Kelson, the only doctor known in the settlement. The problem is that he is supposedly mentally ill. In the morning, Spike asks his father why he didn't say anything about Dr. Kelson. Perhaps he can help his mother. Jamie admits that in his youth he met him during one of his raids. He was laying out dozens of corpses in a clearing and burning them. Considering him crazy, he and his friends decided that it was strictly not recommended to approach him. Spike accuses his father of waiting for Isla to die so that he can leave for another woman. In a fit of rage, the man gives him a corrective slap, despite the fact that he later apologized as best he could. The boy already had a plan. He sets fire to the barn to distract the guards at the gate, then takes his sick mother to a doctor in the mainland. Isla is frightened by the desolate landscape. She calls for her husband. Buther's son insists that they must continue on to the doctor. They walk all day, stopping for the night in a chapel. Spike volunteers to stand guard, but falls asleep on duty. A fat, infected man crawls towards him, but at the last moment, Aelin throws a bag over the mutant's head and smashes his skull with a rock. However, in the morning, she has no memory of how she did it. The story switches to the soldiers from the Marine Quarantine Patrol. Due to circumstances, they landed on the shore in a boat. When the Marines began to be pursued by the infected, the number of troops was steadily decreasing. They even have to finish off their own after being infected. Fleeing, The soldiers find themselves in a sewer tunnel, locking the grate from the inside. However, here they are met by a huge alpha, capable of easily tearing off a bad head along with the spine. In the end, only one soldier survives, who prudently flees, shooting the infected behind the grate. Spike and Isla make their way through a field overgrown with yellow flowers. Noticing an ornate metal statue ahead, the woman tells how she first saw it. Only because her mind is clouded by illness does she mistake her son for her husband. A skinny, infected man, resembling Cillian Murphy, sneaks up on them. Spike kills him with a well-aimed shot. The infected man's blood gets on Aile's face. The boy has to carefully wipe it off so that it doesn't get into his eyes, nose, or mouth. Just one drop is enough to infect him. Noticing the infected men running after them, the couple rushes to escape. Their escape leads them to an old gas station, inside which gasoline fumes are swirling. Climbing inside, the people fight off the infected. Suddenly, a hatch opens on the roof, and a soldier, ordering them to lie down on the floor, opens fire on the mutants. The shooting causes the fumes to ignite. The fire destroys the infected, but by the will of script magic, it spares Spike and Isla, who are lying on the ground. Getting outside, they meet a Swedish soldier named Eric. He is forced to join their expedition, as he is even less familiar with the local realities than the boy and the mentally unstable woman. Eric carries the exhausted Isla on his back, telling her along the way that has served in the quarantine patrol. But now, having set foot on the infected Earth, he cannot return. The outside world cuts off all contact for safety reasons. During a break, Eric shows Spike a photo of his girlfriend. Looking at her lips, the boy immediately diagnoses her with an allergy to Tosia food. He has seen this before. After a battery runs out, the soldier throws away the useless phone. As they continue their journey, Ayla suddenly hears a moan and follows the sound. She reaches the railroad tracks with an abandoned train, scaring away a herd of rats along the way. In the train car, the woman finds a pregnant, infected woman whose plaintive gaze prevents her from passing by. Out of male solidarity, Isla helps the mutant by delivering her baby. After that, the new mother, remembering that she is, in fact, infected, lunges at Isla. Eric calms the zombie with a couple off shots. Then he wants to shoot the baby. Isla tries to convince him that a child is healthy, but only Alpha manages to calm the warrior down by grabbing him by the head. The people retreat through the carriages. Alpha, noticing his dead lover, rushes after them with the fury of a ticket inspector chasing fare dodgers. Without letting go of Eric's head, suddenly, a man covered in iodine appears and calms Alpha down with a well-aimed shot from a blowpipe. The arrow is filled with morphine. The man turns out to be Dr. Kelson. Taking the soldier's head from the motionless Alpha, he leads his new acquaintances to his camp, which looks quite extravagant. Pillars made of human bones. The doctor built them in memory of all those who died, whose bodies he burned. In the middle of this forest of the dead stands a tower of skulls. The doctor meticulously used different bones for different purposes. He took the soldier's head towed to his gruesome memorial collection. After boiling it over a fire, he carefully washed away the remains of flesh and skin from the skull until he had a perfect bone. Kelson allows Spike to choose where to place Eric's skull. After examining the baby and finding no signs of illness, The doctor reminds him that Hay needs food, specifically milk. He will have to take him to the settlement. Then he examines Isla, conducting tests on her short-term memory and fine motor skills. The doctor's diagnosis is grim: cancer that has metastasized to the brain. Ale admits that she had guessed as much but was afraid to tell anyone, realizing that she has little time left to live and that every day will be accompanied by pain. She says goodbye to her son. Then the woman goes with Kelson into the forest so that Hetson euthanize her with a lethal dose of morphine. After the body is cremated on a pyre, Isla's skull, like others that have fallen into Kelson's hands, undergoes the same procedures. Then the doctor gives it to Spike so that Hetson place the bone wherever he sees fit. The boy climbs to the top of the bone tower to place his mother's skull facing east. When Alpha wakes up in the afternoon, he visits the camp, forcing the doctor and the boy to hide in an underground shelter. But the infected man breaks through the roof, grabs Kelson, and tries to pull him out. Spike puts Alpha to sleep with a syringe of Morphus. After that, the boy and the child return to their native settlement on the island. He leaves the girl at the gate with a letter for her father. In it, he says that they named the baby Isla after his mother and asks not to look for him. Spike leaves for the mainland to find himself. He will return when he sees fit. 28 days later, Spike is frying the fish he caught when the infected notice him. After shooting one of them, the boy runs away, but stumbles upon a stone embankment blocking the road. At the top of the embankment sits a young man in a tracksuit. He praises Spike for his accurate shooting and offers to help him deal with the rest of the infected crowd. The stranger is joined by friends, all dressed in stylish sportswear, as if they had stepped out of a glamorous 1990s movie. The team in the embankment takes down the infected, demonstrating that over the years, at least someone has had the sense to develop an effective method of fighting zombies. Then the guy meets Spike. It turns out that he is the surviving boy Jimmy from the prologue. That's where the movie ends.